And welcome to Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, a live edition. I guess kind of like Saturday mornings, but this is a Wednesday morning. Razor worked late last night, later than we thought.
That game took forever. These games are all taking forever.
Way too long.
Yeah, way too long.
Yeah. Did you at least have a good dinner at the studio?
I was able to run out during the first intermission, so
yeah,
I got takeout, so it was good. Sushi again. I went sushi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you go to that place near the in Arsenal?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was good. Not as good as the one you brought the other day, but
no.
Okay.
I've never been to that one in Arsenal. I would like to try it, but
yeah, it's worth trying. But the other one was better.
I thought maybe last night would be a chipper night for you.
I kind of thought about it, but it was like late by the time first intermission. Even I was like, it's probably not a good idea.
7:40 face off by the time, and then
I think it was like 8:40 when I went to get food. Like that wouldn't have been a good idea.
I'm assuming your food intake was probably pretty aggressive at that time because you were hungry. I don't know if I could say the same thing for the Bruins. They did not look that hungry early on in the game.
No.
I will maybe say that it's something to do with the travel back and the games, the amount of games, the amount of time. Part of the biz, unfortunately, especially this year. But I don't know. I was thinking maybe we'd get a little bit more, just given the importance of the game and the message, the game that we all know is about Brad Marchand coming back. It's an event. You don't have many events during the regular season. So, by the way, Boston Bruins lose 4-3 to the Florida Panthers. I should be a better host and explain all that. But don't you agree? Weren't you expecting a little more to begin, Razor?
I think they were talking themselves into it, but
into what? Into being a big game?
Yeah, and into trying to have the energy and glad it's Florida, glad it's Brad, and that'll get us going. But your body's your body. When you're on West Coast time, when you travel today, like you can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
You try and get yourself up for every National Hockey League game, but nature still runs the show, and energy level and whatever you're putting in your body, like it just is what it is. And again, I was hoping the same. I was thinking that they would get a boost from it, but the reality is when one team's sitting there for 2.5 days in their hotel, having dinner, walking around the city, and the other one's playing 2 games in that time and flying across the country, there's a discrepancy. There's nothing you can do about it, and you can talk yourself into it all you want, but literally the Bruins played 120 minutes of hockey and flew 5 hours while Florida was sitting in the Ritz-Carlton for 3 days. So it was more of an uphill battle than I think they probably even thought, expecting the bump they were going to get. That being said, they pushed hard in the third. You have to give it to these guys. You really, I thought they were done. I thought it was going 3-0, 4-0, just like in Vegas, just like against Tampa last weekend, and they fought back in those games. So I think that's important to recognize their effort in that respect.
So I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm asking you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a moral victory then? I don't think it is. I don't. I know it's so early in the season, but I think we're seeing what we thought this team is. And while it's nice that they're working their asses off to come back, it's not a moral victory anymore, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, there's no such thing. I mean, it's good talk, but there isn't a moral victory in the National Hockey League, and I've never subscribed to that. I think there are positives. I think what Marco Sturm talked about after the game, that our mistakes are individuals. That is true.
So let's go to Marco post game, and you're starting. It's great getting into it. I mean, we're not going to break down all the goals. We'll talk about a few of them and everything, but this is I'm really enjoying this first time NHL head coach. His presence, his description, his honesty. I think it's important for this team, and I think I think it might create some pain, so to speak, for some guys. But
Mhm.
on the other hand, I won't say so what, like flippantly, but I think this is what these guys need, this type of directness as well. I mean, he called out Lohrei, right? There's some other players too that we can get into, but as a player, former player like yourself, would you appreciate this? What Marco's doing post game? It's not mean, by the way. It's beautifully
No,
factual.
no. He's not making anything up. He's not taking something that no one would notice and say, "Look at how bad this guy is." It's the obvious. He's stating the very, very most obvious, and not going out of his way to do so. It's you know, the puck went off Andrew Peake's skate and into the net.
Yeah.
That happened. That's obvious.
How the hell did
I don't.
that? I mean,
Well,
I've watched it 5 times, and I know how it happened. He was stopping, kind of coming back, and
yeah.
the skate. But are you freaking kidding me?
No, and again, and this is but it's unlucky, but
But
why
I
why
know.
not put a glove on that? Why not? You need to play that differently too. And like if you slow that down, there was no one around him. He had more than enough time then to try and whack that out of the air, one hopping off of a post.
How
He could
about
have
not
done it.
letting Verhaeghe to get into the mid slot either in the first place? I mean, let's
Correct.
go back to that.
So
Okay.
talking about individual, those are into like those plays can't happen in the NHL. You're going to lose if those things happen to you, and I think that's what Marco was talking about last night. And then the 2 plays with Lohrei are very, very, very obvious that like that's not a breakdown that turns to a chance, that turns to a breakdown, that turns to a goal. That's just flat out getting beat and making the wrong play, and that's individual. So I agree with them on all fronts. I think it will cause some friction if it continues all season long, but I think he's trying to nip this in the bud. I think he's trying to show accountability is important, and I think what he'll want and what is the best way for these teams to develop the quickest is to have this happen early, talk about it early, and then the players take on that accountability themselves.
Yeah, it's the old ownership. It
Yeah.
is. So let's go to Mason Lohrei because it is an obvious discussion point, and we might as well do it early on. 13 minutes and 45 seconds in the game. 1 attempted shot got blocked. No other shots on goal. Played 3 minutes and 18 seconds of that ice time razor on the power play as the quarterback of power play too, because no Hampus Lindholm. That was a little like, really? So he tells, something's not right after morning skate. You need him. Again, I mean, this team, it unfortunately can ill afford not to have players, especially what we would call significant players, out of the lineup. I'm starting to get concerned. I am. I'm like, okay, you played 1 game after taking almost a week off. Now you're back. Now you're not. Is it shutdown time? What I mean by shutdown time, it's like, hey, Hampus, until you're 110%, the old kind of, cliche, 110%, don't come back. But what do you do with Lohrei right now? Because he's in that tweenerville right now, Razor. Young guy, not as young though. He's not 20. He's not 28. He's in that mid ground, but he's still kind of young NHL experience wise. But this is a player that we talked about at length last year, partner, and we're already talking about him this year. Well, we talked about Middlestadt and kind of the battle level and this and that, the compete and everything. We talked about it a bit with Lohrei last year, and we're seeing it this year already right now. Where do you go with this? Because is this a sit 2 games at the NHL level, or can you ill afford that and you try and get into the American League and say, spend 30 days down there? Where are you at?
Oof. It's I think you're doing the previous first before if
Hit for a couple of games and see what's
if
going
you're
on.
moving him somewhere else, that's extreme and dire and probably last resort from the Bruins organizational point of view. But it hasn't changed. It's been, this is exactly the same as March. And we talked about him being the green jacket winner, minus 43, minus 2 every game. It felt like the last 25 games of the season, it was unacceptable. And it was okay, young guy, that's fine. Got his contract, still came into the lineup as probably a top pair defenseman. Not a lot of consequence for that minus 43, but a lot of expectation that it was going to be better and it was going to get fixed and it was going to be a point of emphasis over the summer into training camp and into the regular season. We haven't seen any of that. And that's the concerning part for me, and has to be a concerning part for everyone involved, in that they wanted it to look different in camp and it didn't. And they kind of said so. They talked about it and wanting more physical, more just harder to play against. And now through 8 games, that looks the same out there as well. And on the national spotlight on ESPN, and he's the guy that's out there for 2 of them. It's tough, and it's put the Bruins in a tough spot. It's put Mason in a tough spot. It's put Marco Sturm in a tough spot, and Hampus Lindholm not being in the lineup makes it even tougher, because you can't really call someone up and sit him down. That's kind of out of the normal rotation of National Hockey League players as well. So it's very, today and tomorrow will be very interesting to see what decisions get made.
We get some interaction from the fans, Razor, and it's great. People that are joining us on the live stream, and that's why we wanted to do it. We figured hopefully some people would. And this guy Chris says, no way that Mason Lohrei clears waivers. Probably not. But given his minus 43 last year and given some of the other stuff, I guess maybe there would be a team, right, that would still take a chance.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, there's lots of San Jose Sharks out there.
Yeah, that say, hey, why not? And then and not to get, and I'm not looking at again, we're just talking about what can be done, because you go back and I know
need them. This organization needs them. They this guy has the ability to be a top 4 defenseman. You need these young guys to
play. I think that's the hope. I mean, I would say we saw it a few years ago in the playoffs, and I hate to live in the past. I hate but it was so different. It was vibrant. It was instinctual that he was playing. It was that first step. Now, maybe Razor, the whole team around him was just a lot better, and that helped him out. Yeah, yeah, and that's something to be said for that too. But I just don't think right now you can afford to play 73 and 6 together.
No,
I don't see it. I mean, I don't see 73 being the same type of player. And I understand Charlie is, looking to play a little different. He talked about not being as physical, but if I remember correctly, no hits last night against Florida. I mean, and that's not the game wasn't as nasty as I thought maybe it could be. I guess, it's still early in the season, but still Florida having lost 4 in a row, just like the Bees. Thought it would be, it was dump and chase hockey. It was an awful lot of that, because that's what both teams wanted to do. But anyways, I thought, we'd see a little more physicality from the Bruins, and there's no better hitter than Charlie McAvoy. But I'm looking up the stats here. He had none. He had none last night. By the way, Jeffrey Vial, who's doing his job when he's in their partner, had 6 hits last night, and Nikita Zadorov had 4. So they had 10 of the team's hits.
Zadorov's been great. He's been awesome.
He has. He really has. And we were critical as all hell last year on him for a while. And it's, if you're going to just be an honest analyst, right, as I like to think that we are, some might disagree, he's been damn good. Like he's been their best defenseman.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
So, if Hampus is okay, he comes in. I don't think it's a question. Assuming everybody else is healthy, going today into tomorrow, it's got to be Lohrei coming out. It has to be.
I would expect so.
So we wait and see. I mean, in general, this Bruins team now with 5 losses in a row, is showing all different types of things. I know you like the comeback and the fight there, but what do we do to see more offense create? I just don't know if there's more offense to be created.
Oh, I think there's enough offense. I think there's more than enough offense. It's the defense that's killing them.
Well, it is you're right. The
It's
defense.
not 3 goals is enough. That was enough and then to get into overtime to get a point, like that's enough. The 2 goals in Utah, the 5 goals in Vegas, the 3 goals again. There's enough. I'm not worried. I'm actually that's the issue. That's the issue. Is the offense
I
isn't the
agree.
problem.
Listen, you're right. Okay, no, you're right about that. No doubt that the defense, and that's bothering me too because it's starting to feel like holy, we're seeing the same thing from last year.
Correct.
At times.
That's
Okay,
the problem,
and that becomes troublesome. I also just wonder if because everything is a lot more loose right now in the NHL, if it's enough offense for now, but they work so freaking hard to get their goals, like so hard to get them. I wonder how long that can last. I guess that is, I'm projecting. The reality is you're correct that the most imperative thing that gets fixed again is the team defense. It just is. And is it a structure thing? Is it a play? See, I think it's a player thing right now. I think it's reads and reacts, and I do think it can compete at times.
Yeah, it's read and reacts. There seems to be some thinking, seems to be some slow, deliberate. Husnudinov not getting it out of the zone in Utah, like that should have been more reactive, should have been more instinctual to feel pressure and get it out and find a way to get a point there. Last night, same idea. Like they're not all on the same page. There's turnovers behind the net, even just breaking out. And it just has to be, it feels the first 3 games, I think when they had time and they were ready and they were organized, I think they've lost that in the last 6, 7, 8 days, and they haven't been able to work it, and they don't really know how to make the adjustment. And we talked about that at the start of the year. This is where the coaching and the players, it's not coming out of the gates. The first 10 plays were easy for them to call and read. They were going to do it. They worked 2 weeks on doing those things. Now they're in at halftime and they have to make an adjustment, and they haven't been able to do it. And they need to do it now that they have a little bit of time here the next couple of days. Like today's a big work day to get back on the same page, because it feels like the read and reacts are too slow.
Did you think they were going to practice today? I thought they would take today off. I know they've been traveling, and I thought maybe they would take today off, then play on Thursday against Anaheim, practice Friday because Saturday is a 3 o'clock game.
Yeah, 3 o'clock Saturday.
So, and then you've got Sunday, and they got to get back to back Monday, Tuesday. I just wonder if the loss like that last night impacted anything. I don't know. I didn't ask. I didn't work. I worked.
I'm pretty sure they had a charity component today and Friday as well. They've got a bunch of housekeeping.
They do have visits, right? They have Halloween costume visits today.
Yeah. And then Friday, there's some team stuff as well to do. So I think that's part of being at the rink. Let's practice.
I guess. I got to imagine that the guys are tired as shit though, right?
Yeah, maybe it's an optional morning skate tomorrow.
Yeah, good point. It'll be interesting. A guy that was scratched previously comes back into the lineup and has 2 assists. And while we don't need to measure everything offensively, it's important for Casey Middlestadt to get points.
Yep.
He makes 2 nice plays, 2 good puck plays. We talked about it on Nesson the other night about we talked in pregame about how Marcus Sturm said he handled it okay and whatever. And, I brought it up like, I didn't want him to be okay with it. I wanted him to be pissed off. And maybe internally he was. Maybe he just doesn't show it overtly, right? Mm-hmm. He comes back. He played pretty well. But, that's my feeling is. He did his job in that regard. But did you see a lot from him, enough from him, or just okay from him in that game?
No, I love 2 points is 2 points. That he's a guy that if he gets points, then he's good. That's kind of where it's at. If he doesn't get points, then it's not going to be good. That's what he's out there for. He's just that kind of a player. He's not Pavel Zacha where he's going to do other things if he's not getting points. So certainly appreciate the bounce back. Great play, both on the 6-on-5 and on the goal to Zacha. So that's what he's out there for, to make those little plays. If somebody else gets the puck in those situations, I don't think those plays get made. So yeah, you have to give him credit for being healthy and then getting 2 points coming back into the lineup.
All right, let's quickly run through this game. We haven't done this much this year in Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Real quick, just to get a few comments, questions, out. Bruins start. You'd think they're going to be full of piss and vinegar, right? That's what we're told, and we haven't seen it. But Jeannot takes a tripping penalty 33 seconds in, not having the benefit of replay. Was that a good call? I was sitting in the stands. I thought it was from there, but I didn't have the benefit of replay.
Marshy embellished, of course.
Did he?
Like, that's what he does. He's good at that. Like, there was a stick in there, but Brad went down pretty good too.
Okay.
The bench was giving it to him right out of the gate.
So
there was a lot of penalties. Like this,
they were very on. Yeah,
by the book. That's
you had a very young official and you had a very senior official.
Yeah.
So making calls. So Jeannot takes a penalty 33 seconds in, and then Semiskevich from Marchand and Lundell 30 seconds later scores on the power play to give the Panthers a 1-0 lead. Stays that way through the first period, and then former Boston Bruin AJ Greer gets his second of the season off that faceoff. We're seeing a lot of goals and a lot of chances in general. Maybe it's just recency bias, but it seems like more and more chances are happening off faceoffs, at least in Bruins games, Razor, for both teams.
It has. Vegas, Utah, Colorado. It has. There's been a lot.
Tampa.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's people not ready, people not organized, or maybe they're really organized and they're really ready to go. It's one or the other, I guess.
So that's off a face-off, and Greer comes in and picks it up. Lohrei can't get to it, and he beats Swayman on the short side there. Tell me about goaltending on that one. Was it two bang bang? Is that what it ends up being? Would you like to see anything different there?
No, he's expecting Lohrei to get that puck and doesn't. The play, that angle, that changes so quickly. It's hard to read that. Kind of have to get hit with that. Yeah, and a lot of times you do get hit with that puck. Like, somehow it hits you and you get away with it, and no one really thinks twice about it. But that one went in.
So the Bruins are outscored 2-0 through two periods. They had 19 shots to 16 for the Panthers. I mean, for a while the Panthers had like 13 shots, right? And they had nothing for a while. So they kind of were doing all right. Then the Bruins come out in the third period, 2:48 in. Zaka gets the goal from the Middlestadt Arvidsson play. It was a nice triangle formation in the O zone. Middlestad's quick touch pass over to Zaka, empty net. Then on the power play, 2 minutes later, Elias Lindholm, he had a funky game in my eyes. Like, it was, I don't know if something's up with him. Like, what was he, 0 for 9 in the faceoff circle?
Yeah, which he was dominating. He was leading the league. So.
Right. And then you saw Geekie taking a lot of them in the second and third period instead of him, both righties. So you wonder if it was just because he doesn't feel in it or if something's up with him. But Lindholm gets it on the tip from Pasternak, and Zaka with the other assist. That was on the power play. That we've seen that net front tip 3 times now this year. But then 5 minutes later, approximately, Eetu Luostarinen gets his first goal of the year from Marchand and Ekblad. Marchand with a backhand pass right just around his own blue line or so, and maybe a little further out, puts it into space, like leading the receiver, right, to Luostarinen. And this is the play, really significant play, where Lohrei gets beat cleanly. I mean, completely. Like, you got to keep the man in front of you right there. That's what you tell. He gets puck watching to the side. He's not even with Luostarinen. He gets by him. And then, what did you think of the shot? It was a fantastic shot, I thought.
Yeah, it was. It was in and out real quick. Perfect shot.
Right. Perfect shot. You give props on that. Not a good play though.
No.
By Lohrei.
You need to like, that's the point of that, is that you need to force at least not a perfect shot. You need to contest enough that he can't get a perfect shot off.
How about take him down? How about
stall him down? Penalty
do what Todd Copeland would have done to me in practice. Two-hand him.
Absolutely. Something.
Just whack him.
Yeah.
All right, Morgan Geekie ties it up, though, at 18:29. It's 3-2 at that time. Geekie gets his third of the season. Emphatic Selly. Very happy with the extra attacker on the ice. Middlestadt with that nice pass. Geekie's right in front. I mean, the Bruins did a nice job actually right there.
It was a great play off the faceoff.
Wasn't
really
yes.
Well drawn up. Perfect play.
It's Steve Spott. He does a good job. If that spotter he's quality. Man.
Yep.
But then at 19:34, so 1 minute and 5 seconds later, before the clock went out, Carter Verhaeghe from Sam Bennett gets his point. Sam Bennett, he was non-existent in that game, I thought, against Sam Bennett. But Verhaeghe comes in and he beats Swayman off the post. The reaction again. I mean, talk to me about, I keep watching the replay about Swayman in this instance. Where do you, for this game-winning goal, where do you put him on that play?
Well, I mean, the whole result, I don't really put any of it on him. But if I'm putting my goalie coach hat on and nitpicking, he slides. He slides on the shot, so he doesn't get a straight drop. And whether that's because he didn't really see the puck or he expected Verhaeghe to go blocker, he reads something a little different. So he slides to his right. Verhaeghe goes back against the grain, goes off the post. But the issue is that Swayman's momentum carries him into the white ice and gets him a little too far out of the net. And by the time he rotates and plants to go back towards the net, which he's not too urgent on because, again, it's hitting the post. It's not like a rebound, or he doesn't really know where it's going. So he has to, take a millisecond in his brain to find the puck. But he's so far away from the net that he can't really get back in time. Again, what actually happened is not on the goaltender at all. But again, you're going to watch that video as a goaltender and say, I got to stay a little closer to my net for the next time that's actually a backdoor play. So again, so don't take it that I'm like saying it's Swayman. I'm saying that's the goalie speak of what you could do better, because you can always do better on every goal.
Bruins end up out shooting Florida for what it's worth, 31-23. I mean, Florida's in one as well, man, with this team. They significant.
No, they're not very good.
They're not great right now.
But just to that point, right? Like the Bruins still dig, like we would kill them if they when they got 14 shots against Colorado. So when they get 31, we have to give them their flowers for pressing in the third and putting pucks on net and getting 31 shots on net, right? Like, and as a coaching staff, if you're Marco Sturm, you definitely have to do that. You can't beat them up again, with the start or anything else. You have to, at the end of the day, they got and worked to outshoot Florida 31-23. If you were given that before the night started, you'd take that, right?
Yeah, I agree. So it kind of goes back to your point. The offense has been there. I still think it's such a grind offense. It is going to take so much for them to score regularly. All right, but let's get that in a second. Let's quickly recognize our sponsors, and then I want to get to the question of, is it time already? Are we already there to make a call up? Let's assume everybody's meaning healthy, though. Is it time to bring up somebody from the American League? And I got a question about a few. I want to get back to the guys that are there to provide the P&V. And if we're seeing enough from certain guys. Let's quickly mention Copeland Automotive Group. You can count on Copeland. Todd Copeland, his family, his son John played at BU. Todd played at Michigan. They're huge hockey fans. They're also great car dealers. He's got Todd Copeland now. The Copeland Auto Group has 5 dealerships. He's got 3 Chevys, one in Brockton, Hyannis, and one in Hudson. Hyannis has a Subaru dealer as well. And Toyota is where it all began for the Copeland. So in Brockton, Toyota in Brockton, Copeland Toyota there. Go check it out. If you're looking for a new car or used car, go talk to Copeland Automotive Group. Again, check them out. You can count on Copeland.com. Great family, great dealerships, and we love having a Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. I don't know if you can tell, probably not. I've been sitting down. We got the banner there. Look, I got the the Sunset Lake CBD on today.
The best sweatshirt.
It is. I was kind of chilly. It's a great sweatshirt, and what a crap day again outside. Oh. But I got the CBD going because I skated this morning. I got the lifted tees right behind me. Check out Sunset Lake CBD and check out their .com and check out their lifted tees and all their great products. I still love the sleep products. They got 2 different sleep products, but the lifted teas, they're a booze-free buzz. They have 2 flavors, original iced tea and then mint green. In about 20 minutes, the nano-emulsified hemp. How's that? The extract that you can feel kicks in about 20 minutes. So you're starting to feel pretty good. I should have had maybe a few of those last night. This is like shipped right from their Vermont farm to your door. SunsetLakeCBD.com, the place to go. Folks, use the code BRU20, BRU20. Get you 20% off using that special code for the lifted tees or for any of their products. They are awesome products. They got many different things. And let me tell you something, customer service off the charts. Great first-class customer service. Speaking of great customer service, lastly, Fazenda Coffee. Folks, you've known them for years now with Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. They still got some hats there and some of the traveler mugs. Go to fazendacoffee.com/Morning Brew. Check out all their coffees and all the Morning Brew stuff. So we thank all of our sponsors. for that. Sparks, do we have a spark of the game? Jeffrey Viel. What do you guys think? What do you think of Jeffrey Viel? I mean, he is what he is. He tried to provide a spark. It didn't end up being much of a fight with Gadjevic, but I'll say he tried to spark something right there, Razor.
100%. He's again, it's easier to do what they're doing. So but they're doing it at a very high level. They are the fourth line. VL, both games, Vegas, this game, he's been very, very noticeable. He's got in on the forecheck. He's been physical. Corrali and Kastelik have done the same. Kastelik had 2 or 3 great opportunities in the game against Florida. I love their game. Again, it's much simpler to play that way. They don't have to have their perfect timing. So let's not let that get in the way of a good story, though. And that's how hard they're playing, and the role and the job that they're doing is been very good. They have outplayed the other team's fourth lines.
They have. The issue now is still becoming, and we know the first line has been up and down a little bit, but they're still you're still gonna play those guys. But it's that middle six that needs to find something.
Yeah, and last night it was the third line, right? Like because Middlestadt, Zaka, they got their things, they did their job. And then last night it's like Minton played 7 minutes, so that's curious to me. Jeannot, a couple penalties.
Yeah, let's talk Tanner Jeannot. That's one of my things. We talk. He comes in on the big. It's a 5-year deal. That's, I guess, take that out of it. That's just. Even if it was a
business. Somebody else is going to give it to him too.
Right. So, okay. But let's talk about I thought last night would have been a perfect time to see some oomph out of Jeannot. He had that great hit the other night. We showed it on NESN. Beautiful, perfect hit against Utah. And we're not celebrating that. We're just saying that was a great textbook hit. This was an opportunity. Like, he doesn't have to fight, but we all know he's a damn good fighter. This could have been a really good opportunity. The showman kind of it up, Razor, in this game and have that presence. You don't chase it. You don't take a stupid penalty. I get all that, but he did take a couple of pens last night, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it was more that early trip, I think. He doesn't have a lot of takers, right? He just doesn't have a lot of takers, because if he doesn't get Gadjevic, then there's really no one else there. AJ Greer's not fighting Tanner Jeannot. AJ Greer is so phony. He would not go anywhere near Tanner Jeannot. He is very scared of a guy like that. Tanner Jeannot is known to be tough. And so he's kind of in a weird spot where he can't just like initiate and make someone go, because there's not a lot of guys that are willing to do it. So, but that doesn't mean he can't get in on the offense. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be playing more than 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Like that, again, that line, 7 minutes for Minton, 9 for Easymont, 9:50 for Jeannot. And there's not a lot of shifts. Fraser Minton had 12 shifts. It's, so yeah, they didn't have it. They just flat out didn't have it.
No shots for Tanner Jeannot. He had 1 attempt and 1 giveaway. I don't see, not credit with 1 hit. That can't happen in my eyes. Fraser Minton, as you mentioned, 707, 1 hit, 4 of 6 in the faceoff circle. By the way, again, Elias Lindholm 0 for 9 in the faceoff circle. Morgan Geekie 6 for 7. So not bad. Casey Middlestadt a perfect 5 for 5 in the faceoff circle. The Bruins win the faceoff battle against a non-Barkov or a Barkov-less Florida Panthers, 36 wins, 29 losses. And so, again, not trying to find the positives, but looking at Michael Eyssimont.
Okay to find the positives. We got a long way to go. It's okay to find the positives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know. But
they're doing good stuff. It's not like it was on April 5th last year.
All right. So are you at the point, though? Are you at the point maybe you're thinking about bringing up one guy from Providence after we're not talking 2 losses now, we're talking 5 now. Is it, you got Anaheim, who's, by the way, not a bad team. They're young, they're fast. They're going to be good. Actually, they're young, but they added a bunch of vets too. So they've got this mix. Does it send a message, or you stick with what you got for now? You've got Beecher out of the lineup, who, when he came back in, played well that game or two. You still got VL. What are you thinking? Are you ready to do that or not yet? I'm not against calling up one. I'm just not, given the state of this team, Razor, to try a player that has perhaps not just provided offense, but played well in Providence. Just to say 5 in a row is not acceptable, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that always comes at the expense of Fraser Minton. Like it's that's what it. So if you're going to do that, that's who's going to be affected. You're not again.
Well, it could be an Acimont. It could be, it haven't seen, like, he had a great camp. Great camp.
Yeah.
You haven't seen as much. So you could do something like that type of player.
Yeah. It's so I'm just looking at the Lizel's 3-3 down there.
Did a hat trick.
Steve's is 3-3 down there. Matty Patra hasn't scored yet, so you can't really move him up. So
I would think you would bring up a winger. I do. I think you would bring up a wing, because your point about you keep, especially going against Anaheim, get Fraser Minton back there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they've got good centers, but they're young too. Let them go. Let them play against them.
Yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, I'm typically against just calling up a guy from the AHL. There's going to be an injury. There's going to be something that you use those guys for. Then let them, if you are rebuilding, you want those guys to build, let them keep building down there. I think it's too early to be just calling up to make a point. That's for me, anyways.
Interesting. I haven't looked to see what Providence's schedule is, but I mean, I guess you got guys up. I don't know. I think it's closer than perhaps in the past. I do. I think it's closer than in the past, meaning earlier in the season to call somebody up. Why not? If it to me, it's one of those. By the way, we brought in the Steves and the Blumels. We brought in those guys too because we thought they could provide offense for this team. I'm going back to your point you made earlier. You think that the offense has been okay. I still think it's a grind for them. But if maybe try one of those guys too, and I'm not against sending another message. I'm just not. And I think the fans probably wouldn't mind that as well. All right, we expect, without knowing, I think right now the team is almost on the ice at Warrior, probably in about 20 minutes or so. But we obviously don't know if anybody's, where Hampus is at, anybody's injured or not after last night. We'll have to wait and see about that. We expect Korpisalo against Anaheim, wouldn't you? I mean, that's what we expect, and then go Swayman on Saturday back against Colorado in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm wondering if 5 losses in a row, you might go Swayman, and then because Korpisalo is going to play probably, what is it, Ottawa Islanders? Maybe he plays in Ottawa against his old team, but he's definitely playing once next week. I would. If they had a 1 last night, I would say for sure. I'm curious if the 5 in a row says, okay, we got to go to our $8 million guy here to get us a win. This is your team still, and we need you to get us out of this. So I wouldn't say 100%. I guess I'm on the fence. It could go either way. I think ideally, if everything was kind of going well, you would have seen Korpisalo for sure against Anaheim, a West Conference team. Thursday night that gives everybody rest. I'm just wondering, to your point of hitting the panic button a little bit, that's another one there that Sway gets back in there.
I know I go back to the comments that Marco made early in the season about, it's not going to be one goalie playing as many in a row. Now I know he hasn't played as many in a row, but I just wonder, since there's still so many games coming up, if they just go back and forth.
No, it could certainly happen. And I was on the page yesterday when we talked about it. I just wonder if the loss changes. That could change something too.
Okay. All right, we'll see. Anything else? As I like to say at the end of the show, if you had a real host, we would cover everything for sure. But anything else that we need to get to, partner?
No, we did a pretty good job covering the bases.
Okay. A lot of people out there, and we thank everybody for logging in and joining us. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot. I saw a couple of things about moving Lohrei from D to forward. And are we at that point? I mean, I got to imagine it's been considered by the Bruins, or at least discussed a little bit, but that takes, you can't do that at the NHL level.
No,
you can't do that. So if you're
that's a whole thing, right? Like,
right.
I don't know. You want an add on to whatever comes out of my mouth here, but you have to go to the agent. You have to go to the parents. Go to mate. Like that is a whole, that you don't just say, yeah, you're forward tomorrow. That is an
No, I know it's a major.
large process to make that happen.
He could be the reverse Brent Burns.
Correct. Well, and it worked for him. That's there's some value in that, but it's not as even when they did it with Brent off and on, and he'd done both in junior, and so it was
right.
Even that situation's easier than this one.
He did it, and I remember Andy Sutton did it a bit. They went with the big guy with Sutton's back in front.
Andy Sutton was just trying to stay in the lineup. He you didn't have to go to Andy Sutton's agent to put him on forward. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, Sutton was just big boy. Was happy to be there. But I would say this: if big again, these are fan interaction and everything. If you're going to do that, though, that's not just the whole process with regard to selling it. You got to be able to train him. You can't do it at the NHL level.
You know how hard it is to pick a puck up off the boards in the National Hockey League? It is. It would be it's like hitting a curveball.
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball, folks. It's not something you just do naturally.
Right. And you're talking about whole new routes, and you're talking about a whole new way of
the game's completely different. It's a different game.
Totally different. Where you see the game from, everything's in front of you as a defenseman. Usually, you don't get behind the opponent. But it's in front of you, and it's a different route. It's a different option check as a forward. It's in some ways simpler, no question. But on the other hand, it's a lot that goes into it, and I don't know if it could happen. But maybe we get somebody that's done it, and we can go through it. All right. That's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. We did the live stream. We're going to have this out in pod form very quick. RC, thanks for all the help, big guy, getting this going. RC. And thanks, folks, for checking in. All right, so we're scheduled to do a pre-brew tomorrow against Anaheim, a quickie, and then we'll do our Saturday morning brew with Jaffe and Razor, the one that we do on EEI, and then also have that out in pod. And then next week, I think it's Tuesday night, will be our next podcast like this, longer form pod. Everybody, thanks for joining. Thanks to our sponsors, Copeland Automotive Group, Sunset Lake CBD, Fazenda, Sparks. Thanks, fans, for tuning in live and for listening on the pod or watching on YouTube. All right, Bruins lose. They've lost 5 in a row. Let's see if they can get the ship turned around against Anaheim Thursday night. In the meantime, enjoy your coffee.